Hello, everyone. We are over halfway through the season of WandaVision. I want to share with you some of my thoughts and reviews so far of where we are now that the mystery has deepened. More characters are in play, more players on the board as we figure out what the heck is going on in the MCU after Endgame. Now, when this show was first announced, I was hyped about the concept because, sitcoms, that era is over. And if you have any type of creative endeavor to go back to a sitcom, it's this nostalgia factor. And nostalgia is like a comforting pain. It's a painful memory, but it's a memory that can also give you, there's power to it. So how do you follow up with Endgame? Well, each of these characters are experiencing the fallout, the post-traumatic stress of a war, the Infinity War. I mean, that's the official title of it, but what an endeavor for Earth's greatest heroes and the galaxy's greatest heroes to go through against somebody like Thanos. But what was revealed during the Infinity War, in particular in Endgame, is just how powerful Wanda Maximoff really is. And Thanos was scared when he ordered the barrage to rain down upon him and his men to stop Wanda from stopping Thanos. But the other thing that really stood out was the trauma of losing Vision twice and how Vision is still alive. And Paul Bettany, who is a wonderful performer and shines so incredibly in this series, it is uncanny at first to consider, well, how does Vision come back? But that is the mystery staring us in the face. What the heck is going on? So with all of the pieces being presented now, halfway through the season, I figured this was more of an appropriate time to share thoughts of what I think is going to happen and how things have been playing out so far. The level of meta and the depth for what this show entails is, I think people are still unraveling and understanding, and we'll have the complete picture once all the episodes are out. But Disney is letting the mystery play, and the structure is episodic. Weekly. Dominate the conversation every weekend. There seems to be this understanding after experimentation, and now streaming is the way forward, finally being embraced by all the major studios, even though myself and other pioneers were telling them this 10 years ago. Binging seems that it'll be for documentaries and true crime dramas, where dramas or larger type of events or major AAA series will be episodic week to week. Why does this drama kind of function better weekly? Well, because it dominates the conversation. And if they had all of the episodes play out within the first week, then we would be talking about it for that week, and then it would slowly start to dissipate. You look at shows or productions like Tiger King, where you want to binge it because this is so crazy and it's a documentary style and all this stuff has already happened that you can go Google it and get spoiled ahead of time. So they want to release all the information because it's really happened. It's true crime. Whereas to the drama, they want the water cooler conversations. They want the people talking amongst their friends and even texting my friends back and forth asking, hey, what do you think's going to happen? It is a powerful storytelling tool in the world of marketing. And we know this because it has been done in television for many, many years. What I have found fun to watch throughout the years is there are certain elements of human behavior, human nature, that technology will never change. Humans can only really sit through something for about 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours if they're really engaged. Anything after that, no, they're done. But when you can have somebody binge something for a large amount of time and have it take up, their entire weekend and satisfy them in that realm, or you can have the episodic weekly, people understand that, the tent pole, the water cooler conversation, the way that television used to do it was to prolong the conversation, but also to maximize advertising. And that really was the juxtaposition, there we go, that's the word, with new technology compared to the old ways of doing things. Some of the old ways of doing things have got to go. And there's a really wonderful podcast kind of about this in a humorous tone between Whitney Cummings and Tim Dillon that I recommend you all watch. But there's old ways of doing things that are passing away because they are clunky and old and require way too many middle people in order for it to happen, compared to new technology where you can run and gun and get it done. But the difference is the human experience of the audience, or the difference is, producing it. But there is not a difference in the way the human audience interprets and experiences the final production, right? That ultimately has certain cardinal rules that we've learned throughout the whole psychology of humanity. And having anything longer than 3 hours is pretty much breaking that rule. Having these episodic episodes to begin with at first left a lot of us wanting more, going, okay, when is this going to start to pick up? Where are we going? And I listened to Mark Bernardin and Kevin Smith. Mark Bernardin had the inclination that you would start with Maria Rambeau first, with coming back from the snap, and then everything kind of unfolding, and then boom, she's sucked into the world. But I like the way that this is presented as a mystery, because it feels like an X-Files. It feels like it's harkening back to the 90s mysteries, but the difference is it's not just one episode for one contained hour-long story. It is a whole season worth of what's going on. But also the beauty of the structure of not having to write a season 2, where they can have everything that they want to accomplish built within these episodes and have it be self-contained. Still part of the bigger MCU universe, but this type of experience is self-contained. So this structure, I'm looking forward to seeing as the standard for drama. I think it will be the standard, but we'll see. We'll see what other platforms and streaming services like Prime and Apple TV want to do with their content. But this seems to be working out pretty well for Disney Plus between The Mandalorian and WandaVision. Now let's talk about the tragedy. The setup before all this happens is Thanos, the snap. Wanda, even before Thanos, lost her brother to Ultron, and then she lost Vision twice. Once by her, in order to stop Thanos, she had to destroy Vision, blow him away, so Thanos can grab the stone. And then what does Thanos do? Uses time, goes back, and Wanda has to watch Vision be killed once again as Thanos rips the Mind Stone from him. It's scary to watch. It's scary to watch because, yeah, he's a synthetic, or however they refer to him, a robot, but he's so close to human. He's so close to human, enough that Wanda would want to spend time with him and him get to learn humanity, So the captivation of these characters already has been established, but now we're in a new time frame for them, a new place for them after this large tragedy. And for Wanda, if this doesn't qualify for therapy, what does, for everything that she has seen? And that's where the mystery self-identifies with, oh, this is Wanda, or Wanda's involved, or this is a happy place for Wanda to have what she wants after suffering tremendous loss. But as we dive further into the mystery, we don't know how this started. We don't know if she started it, if it's at a subconscious level. There seems to be a good force working with her, which is why she still protected Maria Rambeau. She cast her out of the scenario. But Wanda wants to be happy. She has what she wants, and she doesn't want to leave. But it just feels like maybe something else is in control, or there's another power at work. We don't know yet. And that's the beauty of this mystery. That's the beauty of getting the revelation week by week. But Maria Rambeau expressing, and let's jump into the acting here, but expressing that she could feel the grief. This whole reality was being weighed down by grief. Now let's dive further into the meta of this. World War II, post-war, sitcoms after the war, simpler time, like Leave It to Beaver, or The Comedic Genius of Dick Van Dyke, Mary Tyler Moore, Carol Burnett Show, Lucille Ball. There's a moment in the Carol Burnett Show that makes me laugh every time, and that's when Tim Conway falls slow motion down the stairs. It's wonderful. It is so funny. But the implications of media at that time was to assuage the grief, to create a facade, a fantasy of the ideal American life. because those that saw the horrors of war and continued to through Korea, Vietnam, and all sorts of wars that we've been in since, there is this swing of the paradigm back to wholesomeness. And that's what you saw at the beginning of the series, that wholesome couple, the separated beds. But every episode was a different era. And by the third episode, we're like, okay, we went, Lucille Ball, Dick Van Dyke. Now we're into 60s, heading into 70s. So every decade they're growing and the kids are growing. And I don't know if they do that as an homage and also to create a sense of time jumping. Like, we're going to be jumping generations with these kids. So that's why these different episodes feel like it's generational within the self-contained narrative. But also, if you look at the overall meta of these type of shows and sitcoms, just the more and more risque and breaking the facade and telling the truth that we've seen on sitcoms. Go all the way back to the 50s and then look at sitcoms in the age of like Ellen, Friends, where, people are sleeping around, they're talking about dating, they have guest stars that come on as their boyfriend and stuff like that. It just to show the generational difference of the world. I wonder if we will get a 90s WandaVision and just see how much has changed from the 90s to today. Just as much has changed from the 50s to the 90s. So this entire production for me has put up a reflective mirror on the era and saga of television and how that broadcast network sitcom era is over. And going back to it is a fun, quaint visit, but also shows how dated it really is. Now, another thing that I want to dive into in the sitcom situation is that the laughter within these episodes feels like it's laughing at them, not with them or as a fun audience. And it started to feel a little bit jarring and more jarring. And I had to ask myself, is it because I'm not used to watching sitcoms, or is there something here creatively, artistically, that is making these people laugh the way that they're laughing? And who is laughing? Where are these people coming from? More and more questions with this mystery. More and more questions. So let's talk about the darkness. Well, before we do, though, I need to dive into how good the acting is here. I mean, but imagine being a movie star today, and the next arc of your character is to be on a multi-generational sitcom, right? I mean, that sounds like a fun project. The fantasy of a happy home life, the simplicity, and then the darkness, the dark reality starting to break through. Now, it was fun with Vision to watch his mechanisms and the gumming up the works and the fun puns and Wanda's powers. It was all quaint and simple. And that's why I think a lot of people that were watching this episode 1, 2, and 3 were thinking, what is this? What are we doing here? Once you have the bigger picture, it starts to make sense and the pieces fall into place. But let's talk about this darkness. I'm having so much fun watching Vision have fun. Paul Bettany is killing this performance. But wow, the darkness is coming. And when you saw him as the dead husk, this is Wanda playing house with her dead boyfriend's body. I mean, I watched it super early in the morning, but it still didn't really click with me how haunting that was until like an hour later, where I thought, whoa, dude, what is going on? It is crazy. This is a treasure for any actor to explore. This entire range of mid-century American network fantasies and the grief it attempts to cover. So outside is an X-Files mystery. We have Monica Rambeau, who's kicking ass. I love this character. I love who they cast. Jimmy Woo is great. And we got Darcy. When Darcy showed up, I thought, okay, MCU are bringing different players in. This is not just going to be a fun little one-off thing. This is a chapter continuation. This is a bridge into what's happening next in the MCU. It's part of the MCU. But it's fun watching these different individuals from the different franchise, or the same franchise but different movies, so different franchises working together. And Jimmy Woo being such a positive force here. But why this mistake? This was This was the element that took me out a little bit, because S.W.O.R.D. seems like it's an organization that's doing pretty well, right? But this acting director of S.W.O.R.D. decides to take the shot against Wanda once they have the drone inside. Now, from his perspective, it's a hostage situation. There's a very powerful person, so let's shoot her with the drone. I mean, what? Why would you do that? I thought S.W.O.R.D. would be smarter than this. Yes, it raises the tension, but it felt cheap. It just felt like, have we not learned lessons here? You know? So that's the only one element of this entire show I thought, what are they doing? If it builds into, maybe he's more of an antagonist character, okay, but it just felt like it really escalated to like, take the shot! Almost unnecessarily. But with the character of Monica Rambeau, she's always like, what? This is armed. What are you doing? Yeah, the military wouldn't act that way. Especially dealing with a potential ally as well. Just that part felt really, what are we doing? Why are we making dumb mistakes? Why are we making these dumb mistakes, S.W.O.R.D.? Inside, Monica is able to describe the feeling of being there, and it's grief. Well, she talks about the grief. But there's other players on the board inside, and Agnes is just really chewing up the scenery. She's great, but there's rumors of Agnes being a bigger character. What kind of sparked that idea even further, not just about the different mannerisms and the things that she says to Wanda and Viz, is how she takes it with these kids growing up so fast, but also the dog. Now, the dog in episode 5 was it was a setup. There's a setup about death. And Wanda had her brother be mentioned by Monica Rambeau when she said, oh yeah, he was killed by Ultron. And that seemed to shake out the fantasy as Wanda was going, what? Who are you? Why are you here? This is the big turn. This has everybody on the precipice asking themselves, is this what we think it will be? Or is this a trick being played by Mephisto? I don't think it's a trick being played by Mephisto. Why would you throw away the potential of having this multiverse come to life with a simple kind of like trick and a bait and switch? But I don't know. Kevin Feige's the one with a plan, so we'll see. But the big reveal, and hopefully you're caught up to this. You should be. Big reveal, episode 5, a story about death, symbolized with the dog. It's really about her brother, Pietro. And the reveal. When you hear the knock outside of the doorbell outside, and Wanda says, I didn't do that. I can't be in control of all of these people. That's her conscious brain saying that, but at her subconscious level, could she? Does she have untapped power that she doesn't fully understand? Well, whatever power it is, here comes Evan Peters as Quicksilver from X-Men. And even in the closed captions, it even says, from the X-Men films. And he's playing the similar character of Quicksilver. So the implications of this is the multiverse has been opened up. And this actor played this character just in a different realm, a different franchise. Well, all the franchises now matter. Everything now matters. And if she's going to be blowing open the multiverse, what else is going to be in store? Either in this series or in Spider-Man 3 or in Doctor Strange 2. Because it seems that column of entertainment is going to deal with the multiverse, where Falcon and Winter Soldier, She-Hulk, and Black Widow deal with Ross and what they call the Thunderbolts, like a Suicide Squad type of team for Marvel. And then the third pillar, the third area of entertainment is going to be the Galactic, where we have Thor, Love and Thunder, and Guardians of the Galaxy, or as Guardians of the Galaxy, as some are saying. So it seems those are going to be the 3 areas of the MCU. And as more and more projects are coming down the line, I don't know if Loki's going to be more multiverse or galactic or just his own thing. But it's exciting because these little morsels that we've gotten from WandaVision seem just a facade of fantasy at first, but there's depth, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go through and watch this whole series again after it's complete to really get the full big picture. Okay, next steps, folks. I mean, this multiverse thing is huge. It is huge. All of Marvel under one roof. So what happens next? What are the next steps? Well, just as Thanos collected the stones, Kevin Feige is collecting all the gems of previous Marvel projects and putting them under one tent, the MCU, thanks to the multiverse. This is a genius move. It's based on theoretical science, and it takes every precious production. It takes every precious production and makes them matter. Every previous one matters. Everything matters. And when your art still resonates in the cultural zeitgeist, they will have everyone that wants to know. Everyone wants to know what happens next. Tuning in. Everybody, my mom who loved this, I love the Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi movies, but it came out in a time in our life as a family that movie meant a lot to us, first and the second one. So if we're able to see any characters from those films pop up again, I mean, seeing J. Jonah Jameson was amazing. We'll see. But the meta is real. And after you have accomplished such a crowning achievement, that is the MCU and Marvel Studios in those 10 years, where do you go from here with these characters? How do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it exciting? And how do you do it in a way that people want to tune in, not just because of the loyalty they have to the previous 10 years, but because they are actually captivated and want to know what happens next and to find out what happens to these characters that they so love. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to conclude. I thought about if I should do an episode, a review for every episode coming out next, but we'll see. I mean, if there's a lot of heavy hitting information in it, maybe, but there will for sure be an end of series review, end of season review for WandaVision. Well, let me know in your thought. Let me know. Excuse me, who I haven't eaten yet. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's what I'm trying to say before I get some macronutrients in me. What do you think about the series overall? Did you think it was a little bit slow going at first and now it's starting to really pick up, which most shows are like that? Or did you really prefer the small morsel mystery in order for us to feel this build up as we move into the second half of the series? Congratulations to the MCU and Marvel. I think about all of the Marvel films that I've seen growing up and always wishing that there was some sort of interconnectivity. And when I saw Sylvester Stallone doing the Expendables, which pretty much was like the MCU for action stars, I thought, yeah, if Sly can make it work with all these different action heroes, then we can make something like the MCU work. And Kevin Feige's done it. What a time to be alive in the world of comic books and films. All right, folks, let me know your comments below. Thanks again, as always, for supporting the channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you can, and I will see you online.